With our third artist talk tonight. I'm Celeste, I'm the gallery manager, and I'm here to introduce June Lee. She is one of our current artists in residence this year, and she has just basically completed her artist residency here for 3 weeks. She's an artist, a printmaker, and I'd like to say papermaker now. Artist from Washington, D.C., and I'll let her take it from here and give you all the details. So let's give her a warm welcome.
Well, thank you so much. I was trying to keep it short and sweet so everyone can want to enjoy the Saturday weekend. Hi, my name is Jun Lee. Just as said, I am based in Washington, D.C. This will be my second time in Cleveland since in 2023. My first time at Cleveland was actually in March 2023 at Zygote for Zygote National Print Residency. And now I'm back in Cleveland for my Morgan paper resident. And yeah, thank you for having me. I am a printmaker. I'm proud to say I'm a printmaker. I'm currently my main primary medium is woodcut. But when I explain to people, I just love how printmaking got me why I'm still doing my art. Because I was used to be illustration design major. I accidentally got into printmaking when I was a senior year, and I fell in love with it as soon as I pulled my first litho prints off the stone, and that was it. And I even told my husband many times that it wasn't my first life for me too, but printmaking, my first pull, my heart pounding, my voice a little shaking because I still remember how I fell in hard for the print. And the paper making was how I got into paper making was because I did the printmaking. I went back to school after I got my BFA in illustration design. And the paper printmaking major was actually supposed to have a required to take a paper making. And I was like, why we have to make a paper? You know, we can just buy from the store. So I fell in love with it. I actually went to school in Minneapolis College of Art and Design. I'm sure Cleveland or Ohio shares the same cold winter and spring in March and April. Yeah, Minneapolis is also brutal making paper, and we called it dungeon because it was a basement. We had a very small window, and that was the only bitter, always wet, always cold. And that when I started making paper first time, which is I actually have my two of my made a paper 2003, that I want to actually been saving it because I thought that one day I will get back to paper making. And now I finally got to print them. I started pursuing the project that I've been thinking of for over 20 years. Oh, wow. I feel so old whenever I say that. It's been 20 years. And so this isn't usually different than my usual artist talk because I talk about my my woodcut a lot of times, but I would like to share where my work is from, why this Morgan paper residency was just so important to going back to this project. So I know a lot of people think of me as a rooster, chicken girl, chicken printmaker, but I used to be more the figurative images. This is my screen printing, one of a series of a self-portrait, 10 large screen printing. And this image is by, yes, the little white hair is me, technically. And all these little, the character in the background, that's my basic trauma, the fear, the anxiety, and those are the kind of my storytelling for my print. And when I was working on these, and I thought, well, with the papermaking class, thought, well, what can I do with my 2D print with the 3D aspect? And I made the abaca paper that I made during the papermaking class that I start to wrap them with the sculpture, like with the clay sculpture. And this is my dues for the mixed media, but it is abaca and there's underneath is a clay. And these are the displayed together with my 10 series of my 10 screen print. And as you can see, the more close up, those are the the abaca, the blending with the glue and matte medium, and I think I mixed it with those. I had like a recipe written down somewhere, but that was also kind of a fun way to figure it out. What when I was making with my new sculptures, what kind of going back to what I remembered. So this is a project that I've been wanting to go back to since basically since I've been in the school, and finding print shop is really hard once you're out of academia, but then it's really hard to find the print paper making access as well. And so this is a kind of project that I was doing the figurative, and I went to grad school, and grad school really shaped me off, that dropped off all my work, that what I used to do, and moving into animal. So this is where it all begins with all the chick. This is a story that what people probably heard many times about my work. So I'm Korean. I was when I came to came to US and when I was 14, but when I was in like first grade, I was in Korea, and there was a guy who sold a chick in a box of like cardboard box. And at the time in 88, the female chick was 50 cents and the male chick was 10 cents. And yes, you should not buy the live animal, but when you're a kid, you want to buy them. And I bought them first time, saved my allowance, and I bought them, and I brought them home. I made like a bed, I fed them. And of course, the school teachers and my parents just said it's gonna die. And I said, no, it's not gonna die. Me and my sister are gonna take care of it. And it actually died the next day. And that was my first death experience. This is like not even, only never even seen even animal or even person die. So my sister and I cried for days. And of course, we didn't learn our lesson, or I didn't learn my lesson. So I bought him again, died again. My sister bought again, and then her chick died too. And I think of the one time I finally, when I bought, and my chick lived almost a week. And they said that if we live make it through a week, it will be fine. Well, it died in 8th day. And that definitely was really coming up like no more chick, no more buying live animals from the vendor outside the school. And this memory came up to when I was in grad school. That was really struggling with my work, where my printmaking work going to. And one day I decided, you know what, I actually want to restart everything. So all the prints that I had made before grad school, I screen print all of them with all this dead chick embryo and chicks. And I basically, like, it didn't matter. Those are the litho print in the background, and all those green and white, those are the chick patterns that I screen print them. And then I color separate them and made a collage. This is a fighting cock. So the story, my own story was that all these chicks in the box want to get out of the box because they think it's a better life out there inside the box. But when it's like outside the box, it's only waiting for you is a competition, which is like you train to be fighting cocks if you survive to be rooster, or AKA you can be somebody else's dinner. But that was my own story, that I want to be I was chick, and my desire want to be the rooster, the fighting cocks, and trying to be survive into a life competition. So there is some detail. There's more detail. I don't know if you can see it, but those are all mixed with my litho screen print. At the time I wasn't really involved with the woodcut or even the leaf print. Those two are my major medium that I worked at the time. So this work was the first using print collages, and my thesis piece, I want to do something more really basic, like going back to basic of black and white drawing, the raw material. And I went to Cranbrook Academy of Art in Michigan. They didn't have a paper making studio. And my idea was purchasing big paper, largest paper out there, and I want to do screen print and mix like a drawing, because at the time the print media was more encouraging making anything but printmaking. And my friend was suggested, June, how about you make a paper? Because your concept is actually fit better than if you actually make your own paper. I'm like, well, I told him, like, well, how can we make a paper? We don't have a paper making studio. And she said, yes, we can make a paper without beater and all the screens. So what she did, we went to Home Depot, she bought the cement bucket and the cement mixer, and then we soaked the abaca and we just use a strainer and keep pounding on the big the sheet of the board that she bought. It was not the wood, it was just something like a very thin plastic board that she actually ordered it. And yeah, we just like keep pounding them, and then we put the blotter, put the fan on, and first time that whole batch got molded, so I had to throw it away, and I had to restart the second time. Well, first one came out fine, but because I was making 3 panels, and second and third got molded. And I said, well, this isn't my third time, my last chance, and I made it, and that worked out. So this is the 3 panel of abaca. I was working on the drawing with the charcoal, and this was my thesis piece. And this is a finished piece. Once it's all charcoal, and if you get closer, this is a shot is more white looking. Oh, from this screen is really white. But there is the tone of abaca, the very age and skin color. And this was my starting off using animal as a competition, life as a subject matter. So now this is what after grad school, I moved to the outside of DC, Arlington, Virginia, and well, I couldn't find the local print shop that I could make a work with like litho, which is like there's non-existent at the time. Screen printing was the only thing, and I actually kind of forced myself to start to doing relief, and found out that Tom Huck in St. Louis, Missouri, his master printmaker in the large format, and he was offering woodcut boot camp, and this was the first one that I actually after I went to his boot camp 2011, I went to 2012, and 2013 after I came back, and I said, you know what, I'm going to give this a woodcut a shot. And so this is the first block that I bought from Home Depot. Took 2 months to print it. Oh, well, 2 months to draw and carve. But I couldn't find the press in DC area, even in the region, that I couldn't print this large block. So I have to fly back to St. Louis to print these in 2013. And here's another block, my champion. So I know a lot of people think I only do make a woodcut about rooster. It is not. It's also usually all the cute animals that you know about when you're a kid in the children's book, like a bunny, pigs, and all those just stories that they tell you. They're cuddly, they're friendly, they're always the weakest, the creature. But they in the real life, when they're threatened, they fight back, and they even eaten, like, they can be even attacking their young, and sometimes they can be a carnivore. They really get aggressive, and that part that was always like that outside we disguise in this perfectly innocent look, but inside you're the fighter. You still have that the aggressive, that when people keep like being threatened to the corner. And that was a lot of my earlier work, is finding my own strength to keep fighting, to make my own story. So this is like also one of them, 2017, I'm sure 2016, there was a lot going on. This was the image, the block I was literally carving and redesigned the whole thing in the background when 2016 in January, actually. And from this story, this is like a based on one of my favorite stories, children's book story. I basically changed it to my own narrative, that with the animal, the protector, the fox, and there's the 2 children. So they're hiding, they're cooperating, supporting that in the hard time and waiting for it to come out. So this is the earlier the black and white work. Then one of the work that I usually work a pretty large work, but I got invited to one of, I was in the member of a Northern Virginia Print Guild. And at the time one of the member had this mannequin, was given by her son that who used to work at the Urban Outfitter. And he would actually donate all these mannequins for, just for art. So she organized a group show that every members would make a sculpture and with a print. And when I had this bird face that plaster that I made in basically when I was in the grad school, I made little by little. And the reason I wasn't making about 2010, 2009, I really thought that I was going to back to working on the paper sculpture again. So I was making them a lot of plaster figurative, like the animals, the bird. Well, I didn't have any paper making studio access, and I had the boxes of this bird face, and I said, all right, I will make them. And this is the sculpture and woodcut that goes with one of the smallest block that I made, but this is the image of incorporating between two sculpture, between the sculpture and the woodcut. I love a balloon. Balloons always make me feel that the innocent, the childhood that I really didn't get to enjoy that much because, well, I definitely had tiger parents that have a lot of higher expectation. I didn't get to play a lot. I also get to study. Well, at least I got to do a lot of artwork. So my parents really loved supporting my work. And this was the project that I actually want to I was sad that I finally, that was the closure of, I don't think I will never going to revisit the whole paper sculpture again. So I will use this bird face for the new work, but I still had the hope, so I saved them. Yes, I was a little older, so I was just saving in the box and I put it in my closet. And every time I moved, I always looked at one day I will get back to you. One day I will get back to you. Well, and then we were moving on to continuing with I was still pursuing my woodcut, and with the black and white, I moved on to color, which is a reduction woodcut. And I was doing a lot of rooster images, and my friends, and family members sent me a lot of, stuff for the birthdays, holidays. I got a lot of chicken stuff, or so chicken news, a chicken article, sometimes a chicken dance music. And one of the things that was the news that was 2016, there was my friend sent me this BBC Japan news article, and it's a story about this lucky chicken Osaka zoo in Japan. And it's called Masahiro. So this rooster basically was a chick. The zookeepers, they actually sent all this about 30 chicks to the raccoon cage, trying to keep the raccoons get their wild instinct, the hunting instinct. And this chick survived. One of the chicks survived. It's not like all 40 got eaten when one chick survived, but whatever the chick made it didn't get eaten by raccoon. Well, it got too big for raccoon. And so they did put a weasel cage. And well, apparently the one chicken still survived. And at that point, that chicken actually become rooster. It was too big for the weasel. So what the zoo people did, they put him into a tiger cage. And amazingly, that rooster survived, and a tiger cage at the third time. And so the zoo decided to pardon this rooster and give a name to Masahiro, and became the mascot of the zoo. And so as you can see the little picture, this rooster, so when this zoo got really popular because people want to rub on the lucky chicken to wishing granted. And yes, in my story was this rooster basically, well, in my head, yes, you jump in and kick the butt of a tiger and you survived. That's the story I like to think of. And I said, you know what, you deserve to be praised and have a bigger than just a name. And I said, I'm going to make a work about you and give big flower as a celebratorial and giving them armor that you're the you're Victorian of this fight, the natural instinct. And this is my Denver fellowship I did 2017 at Pyramid Atlantic Art Center in Hyattsville, Maryland. That's where I'm currently printmaking associate, but this is where my reduction rooster series really start to begin. And as you can see, one of them, the actual print in front of you, that's a bridge before the leap. This is the printed and edition at Lily Press in Maryland. It's owned by master printer Susan Goldman. She invited me print. She also wanted to be have a project with me about my rooster reduction, and this was one of the largest images I did. And we've editioned it 2019 New Year's Eve. And it was actually the day before I left to Penland School of Craft for the winter residency 2020. Oof, you know, where this is going, right? And this is the Whisper and Wait was a 4-layer reduction woodcut I did at Penland. And while we're in the residency, we're getting the news from the pandemic. It was really, the COVID is just starting in Asia, and we were just not sure how long this was going to be. And we all thought that it was going to be a couple weeks, right? And well, after 3 years later, but this was when I was editing this in my studio. So after Penland, the residency is over, I had to dry my print, was in my old studio. And while I was literally editioning my print, and my former director and my friend, Stephen Munoz, came in and said, we are shutting it down. And so I do remember when everyone remembers, so when the March 17, when things are shutting down, I remember what I was doing. I was editioning with Whisper and Wait and packing up all my stuff from my studio. So, well, 2020, that basically put me down I lost the full access of my studio. I lost also school access where I taught in part-time. That's actually that I couldn't access the print shop anymore. Until I just have to just keep making work whenever my friend will open up their print shop, their home studio, I print them. But it was tough time. It was literally was not sure where my work was going. And when finally things are opening back up again, 2022, I started applying looking for the residencies. And this was done at Zygote in 2023, March 2023 at Zygote National Print Residency. Okay. So I know some of you probably want to know about my work in progress with my woodcut. So this is a little clip of how to show. And I use a birch plywood. Oh no, not birch plywood. I use a cherry veneer plywood. I have a wood guy in Maryland. He gets really great cherry block. And I carve with all by hand, Japanese carving tool. Then this is one of the carving process. You can see the left is once it was carved, that about after second color printed, and that's the key image. That's a final layer. And a lot of times that people ask me, is the carving takes the longest? And I say, no, absolutely not. Actually coming up with the design and making sure all these imageries and color plan actually takes the longest for me. And after that, carving actually makes me, put me in a very zen mood, I should say, and talk to myself a lot. I hit my head a lot on my block and see what I'm doing, why I'm still carving, and why I'm still doing this printmaking madness. And this is why. This is the first layer. This is my the local print shop I'm at Pyramid Atlantic. You really won't see the second layer until third layer. And this is why I still do what I do. Yes, as you can see, I'm short. Yes, a lot of time my print is taller than me. Um, once you finish it with your key image, you cannot reprint the block. You only get the black and white, the outline. And that is also why that I'm so addicted to this method, this process, because it's basically the same thing as I always say it's like a life. You have to move forward. And you cannot go back. So how much is like you having the time, you want to rethink about it. I mean, there was a time that I didn't regret, I question, but it's always moving forward, and it fits with my concept, the life, the survival of the life. But then also there are also finding my fellow printmaker, my fellow artist friends, that brother and sister who are always there and supporting each other. And I always just say that, every work I create, this can be my last work. Because, we really don't know what is going to happen in life. And especially during the pandemic, really, make me think like, yeah, you really cannot predict like a lot of things. You just have to keep thinking that, that this is your best work that you're gonna leave behind. And it makes me feel more focused that what I do, and I want to be there for my younger artist friends who comes, and if they want to advise, hey, I'm still here, whenever you need the support, whenever you need to keep fighting war frustration, sure, I'm here. This is in one this is the calling out my sunshine, because I love sunflowers, and this is actually the flower that my parents actually came to visit last year. I haven't seen them for 6 years, and I want to give my mom's every day that she can see when she wakes up, she can see the flower, her favorite flower, that's the sunflower. And so this is actually dedicated to my mom. And also like for me to start a good year, since the 2022 was pretty rough year, we all thought. And yeah, and I guess the 2023 is just still, I know a lot of artists that I've been start to like going to national workshop. I talk to them, and yeah, everyone is tired. Everyone is overly worked. And they don't know what is going to future in their career. And so am I. I do have the same that work, but I always had my support, my people that who believed in me when I was really starting from just say, I want to do printmaking. I'm going to resign my full-time job so I can do this. I really want to personally thank to Tom to let me know about the Morgan residency, because I had a print partner, Stephen Munoz, I told you, I mentioned earlier. He was my director when I was first starting my, found my, the first print shop in Arlington, Virginia. And he was the one that who encouraged me to stick with the art, stick with the printmaking when I want to quit. And along with my husband, Scott. So I said, I have a real life husband and I have print partner in life. I lost him this year, and this was one of the last project that he and I actually talked about before he was hospitalized, because he's, it was our plan was he was he was very happy for me that I got my residency here. He didn't apply because he said, well, I never done paper making, so you go ahead and let me know how, how Morgan works. And but I told him about the garden. He was a master gardener. So this is like my keeping promise that I'm moving forward. This is not about this is a project that he and I like discussed. So it's not about him, or it's not about memory. It's the plan that we partner each other. We make a New Year's plan in 2023. And this was the last subject that we talked about, what we're going to do 2023. And it was really hard to keep that promise. And I'm glad that I'm keeping the promise and I kept with my proposal that what I said I was going to do. At least that he was not going to say like, well, I kept that, I kept my word.